etiquette is how somebody feels in your company. And that's the start and end of etiquette. It is really not about being prim and proper, being gracious. These are the manners, but the principles of etiquette are the consideration, respect and honesty that we show towards others, the relationship building skills, etc. Etiquette is humility. Humility is the ultimate sophistication.
We might forget what someone said to us, but we rarely forget how they made us feel. Etiquette, is it just another fancy word for kindness? Or is it deep-rooted in our DNA? Was it the Buddha who instilled humility in us? Or Louis XIV from France, who loved throwing parties, but did not like the way the guest left his lawn and home? Which is very similar to the aftermath of music festivals and beaches these days. Was it the high teas of the royal family? Or was it the kind glamour of Lady Diana? Was it the public figures? Or the leading successful personalities that shaped the modern day social and business etiquette? So let's find out from Konkana Bakshi, who's trained in social and business etiquette around the globe. She has been a former Miss India and she's here today sharing her story and talking about her passion. This is Muskan Sethi and you are tuned in to the A-Game podcast.
Crushing the competition because I truly believe it. From continent to continent, I'm about my numbers, man.
Konkana Bakshi, my very close friend and a global image and etiquette consultant. Welcome to my show.
Thank
Welcome
you.
on my couch.
Thank you, Muskan. Thank you. Well, we have known each other for how long now?
Very, very long.
And I admire you. I'm very, very fond of you. I think the admiration is very mutual because you give me a lot of encouragement for what you're doing globally as the most prominent female poker player.
Oh my
so
God.
I think that's fabulous.
Thank you so much. And I've always looked up to you. I am, like you said, it's very mutual.
It is.
I am a big fan of yours. I love what you do. And this is something I feel that not many people know in India, that you're the first to take it on to this level. And, you know, you have really taken India's name globally. And people just associate Switzerland or France with finishing schools.
That is correct.
They can never imagine that someone like you in India has been grooming such big prominent figures and personalities. Just to tell the audience a little bit about what you do,
yes.
Please tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got started.
So I'm a practicing global image and etiquette consultant. I studied in Switzerland and my entire education and specialization revolves around social and business etiquette and international business protocol.
Wow.
I became an international image consultant from London Image Institution in London. So my whole specialization is image and visual transformation, social and business etiquette.
How old were you when you got interested in something like this?
Since I was a baby, but I'll tell you one thing. I went to a finishing school in Europe. I had no intention of starting a finishing school in India. I just went because my grandfather thought it's like the right thing to do, send the granddaughter to.
But how old were you when you were?
I was a baby. I was like 15, 16, I think.
Oh.
And every time that I used to travel abroad, I used to find out who is an etiquette consultant there. So I'll give you an example. I did a proper course in Europe. However, if I would go to Hong Kong, I would say, let's see if there is somebody who's teaching dining etiquette there. And every time I would travel in Australia, South Africa, Singapore, Hong Kong, Paris has excellent etiquette consultants. I would just go for small courses.
Wow.
And knowing nothing about one day I would like to open a finishing school myself. It was just a hobby. I enjoyed it. In India, not many people understood etiquette. It's something that kept me busy every time I traveled, something to do. And Mama used to say, do something. Come on, go to the art gallery. Come on, go do a course. It shouldn't be just a holiday, And that's how I used to do it. But obviously Switzerland was very strict. It was a proper finishing school. But in Paris, I learned so much. In France, I learned so much. In Versailles, there is a finishing school. In Hong Kong, there are great consultants. In Singapore, they're very, very good image consultant. I learned so much from London Image Institution. My teacher, Lynn Marks, I think she's the best image consultant in the world. I mean, she would be the fabulous teacher, I learned so much from her. She taught me the business of image consultancy. So when I started image consultancy, actually, I started this company, Savoir Faire Academy, I was very young. I was 20, I think.
What?
Yes.
At 20 you formed your own company,
I did.
established it?
But hear me out. I did not teach because I was quite young. And I knew that the corporate world and the business world wouldn't take me seriously.
Why would you say that? I mean,
because I knew it's business etiquette, how do you get the revenue, obviously I had to pitch the corporates. So my grandfather used to email some of the business leaders, and they're very kind to sort of give me an appointment. I met very nice people like Anand Mahendra, I met Uday Kotak, I met the Bajaj family. They're very kind. And when they see you like a young girl starting a business, I had like an elevator pitch of 30 seconds that I would go and, they are really, really senior people.
do you remember that pitch?
I don't embarrass you, but yes, I had like a rattle speech, like
What
a pitch.
was the convincing factor there that, your employees should behave
That
better?
is correct. So I would say that, the brand ambassador for any company are the employees, and especially the people who are meeting clients. So India is a fast emerging in global, in global field, and doing business internationally, you require business etiquette and international understanding of their culture, because business is done a lot with social skills and soft skills.
I heard Richard Branson say this. If you treat your employees, your staff really, really well, they will treat everyone else well, and then people will respect your company.
That is correct, because they are the brand. Who's representing your company at the end of the day? Your employees. So that's what I pitched, and I did not teach at all. I was very young, but I had very senior consultants on board to teach. I had Mr. Dilip Cherian, who's a political advisor from Delhi.
Wow.
I had him on board teaching networking. So I basically created the curriculum. I knew what needed for the business world. Now I have expanded on private clients and stuff like that. But earlier, Savoir Faire was only business.
So are you telling me that this is not just something that hospitality industry needs? This is something every industry should?
I did not even target the hospitality. I only targeted industries like business houses. So I knew what the corporate world may need. They would need networking, they would need business etiquette, and fitness is very important, because when you are fit, when you are, paying attention to your health, your mind is in a better frame of mind, and obviously the ROI will be seen in the growth of the company. So I had Chris Gaithan, the British consultant from, Chris Gaithan. He was quite prominent that time in India.
Who is he?
So he's a British fitness trainer.
Oh.
Fabulous guy. And, my colleagues at Savoir Faire, I'm a retard in all these things, but my colleagues told me like, oh, you must Google this guy who's training Hrithik Roshan, Chris Gaithan. I'm like, okay. So I tweeted him. Mm-hmm. I said, would you like to come on board? I'm starting this company. It's a finishing school, and it's a 3 days program we would like to do. And he came on board. Mr. Cherian very kindly came on board, and obviously Mrs. Sabira Merchant that I learned. Yeah, so she was my first teacher in India. So she came on board, and so the other 3 consultants came on board, and I prepared the curriculum. I got the business, and we did a 3 days affair, which was a great success. So, the elders in the family were like, oh, it's okay if you make a little bit of a loss. And I knew one thing, I can't afford to make any losses, but thankfully we broke even. And then I also had enough to sort of do a proper publicity in Times and things like that about the event. We did a 3 days program with different companies. Wellspun was there, and then Bajaj was there, and then I think ICICI was there. So many companies together. It was a great success. That's how Savoir Faire started. So the first year, I did programs like this, which are 3 days workshop for business etiquette.
More like a master class.
With 3-4 experts. I did that for the first year. The second year, I lost my mom. You know that.
Sorry.
Yeah. Exactly, I think that's the time when we met. Right.
Most of you who are watching would think that, Konkana is just a guest, or we met then, when we were working and on our own different parts. But to be honest, we both, I actually found her, and I came to her also. I did a workshop with you.
I happened to be in Delhi that time.
Yeah,
no?
and she was there, and luckily we hit it on, and we spoke about. I had also lost my mum that time.
That's the same time. That was the same year.
And you know why I came to you? Because when my mum used to always tell me that she will send me to a finishing school because I'm so clumsy. She used to call me a bull in a china shop.
Oh no! I'm so fond of your mum because she looks so elegant.
She was very prim, proper, elegant lady, and everything she did was very expressive. It's like the epitome of
grace and elegance.
Grace and elegance.
She was, because I've seen her picture and
I felt like that girl from the Princess Diaries, where I will be one day groomed. I'm like on my skateboard going, like, I was a bit tomboyish, and to be honest, it was not just about being feminine, being like that. I wanted it for business. While playing poker, I was traveling, and I had come across a few incidents where I had met some like important people, and I was very, very impressed with how they were carrying themselves.
True.
The way they even shake hands with you. So I wanted to understand the meaning behind everything about the body language. Because I, being a poker player, I'm a lot into, understanding the body language, understanding, trying to read your mind in a way. And this is something when we started working, it was so much fun because we were studying Obama's body language. True. We were studying the Queen's body language. We even studied Lady Diana because I love her, and I remember we were talking about and not just about fashion sense and all, but how to really show respect to others.
Etiquette is how somebody feels in your company, and that's the start and end of etiquette. It is really not about being prim and proper, being gracious. These are the manners, but the principles of etiquette are the consideration, respect and honesty that we show towards others, the relationship building skills, etc.
Tell me more.
So, in etiquette, another thing is etiquette is humility. Humility is the ultimate sophistication.
Wow, I love that you said that, because I strongly believe that, you will never remember what someone said to you. Never. But you'll always remember how they made you feel.
They made you feel. You'll never remember. Like, I have always believed, and I think grace and etiquette is something that I learned in my family as well. My father really practices it, and he's never been to a finishing school. I've seen that building good relationship is an art. It works not only fabulously well in business, but it also works very beautifully in social situations. So being a graceful host, being a good friend like you are.
Oh, thank you, like you are. And I know what you mean by being a good host, because it's just the most rewarding feeling when you host your friends and you make them feel special.
Absolutely. And we are so blessed to be in a country where we can host. It can be quite nerve-wracking if you're hosting your guest for first few times because you have to get everything right. But with time, it becomes,
I remember one of my very close friend, her name is Rakhi. So whenever we went to her house, her mum used to feed us a lot, okay? She used to, after every, and I found that, as a wonderful host. I used to be like, she's at par with my mom, because, they both know, exactly how to, win the heart.
True.
Because when she's there, she would just be like, Bacha, you have to eat this, and she would not ask. It'll be in front of you. You have to have a few bites, and then once that's over, there'll be something else served to you. I remember Rakhi telling her mother that, Mom, please don't be a cruel host. So where is that line that you draw, when someone comes over, especially in Indian households?
So our mothers are very overprotective, right, in India. I love to go to my aunt's place and they are force feeding me as well. I love that. I used to see my mom. She used to serve the guest. Papa's investors used to come and the staff used to stand behind. Mummy used to serve.
Yeah.
The guest of honor, the guest everybody. Yeah. And that's what even I learned. Even today at home, if I'm dining with dad and if I'm having lunch together, I serve dad. And that's India, and we should take huge pride in our culture. I am so proud to be an Indian girl, and when my friends from all over the world come, and I have great friends, etiquette consultants they are, when they come, I make sure I do the same. But yes, you must make your guest feel great. Just make sure that they're comfortable, and also it's the guest's duty and prerogative to be a good guest.
But
There is a
Konkana-
guest and host rule, which is amazing.
Oh, okay. Do you want to share anything about that?
Well, you just have to, first of all, good host should be relaxed. One thing I see that if you're hosting like 5-6 people also, if you're hosting in your apartment, and in Bombay, if you're like, I don't know, 3-4 BHK apartment, you shouldn't be hosting like 50 people,
True.
And secondly, there are great caterers who would do it for you. You can just be a relaxed host. Your guest wants to see you relaxed, having a drink, relaxing, making merry, and you're the host.
Oh, that makes sense. And Konkana, while I was working with one of our workshops we did, I remember I thought that, okay, I would maybe I learned something, maybe I won't, but I learned so much in your workshops. I promise you, firstly, it was like, that body language thing that I was like very blown away by. And then after that, I went home and I studied a lot of celebrities' body language. The ones that I looked up to see like what were those small things, because tell us, what is this history of etiquette and where does it come from? I think it's a lot to do with your family. True. And then it doesn't stop there. If it's not your family, then you should go out there and learn. You should go out there and get these good skills in you. So I remember this while dining, you told me that I think my fork dropped as usual while dining with you, that also, and then I was about to go grab it and you said, don't pick up, the server is there and he's going to pick it up. Yeah. So, and at the other side that I want to talk about is that when we are at home and we are having a meal, for example, and then once we are done with the meal, we don't go back and put it in the kitchen, which I think we should. We should always go back and put it in the kitchen. We just leave it for our cook or our servant or staff to come and pick it up.
In India, we have the luxury, but abroad, what you do? And also, if I have children tomorrow, I would definitely make it a habit that please take your,
clean up after yourself,
Absolutely. And at home, we do that as well. My brother and I, we take our own plates, cutlery and napkins, and we go to the kitchen and put it. And then the rest of the stuff, obviously the staffs do, but it's a practice at home. And also young children today should definitely learn good manners, and good manners are taught first from mums. And we both know that, right?
And then if it's not mom,
our moms and the grandmothers are the first etiquette consultants.
Yeah, they are. That's true.
They are.
But some moms like to pamper, and that's where that gap comes. Like a lot of kids are in that bubble, that protected bubble.
Cushioned, yes. Yeah, they're in
cushioned,
India
especially in India, yeah, true. Because abroad, I haven't seen that much.
No.
And it's again like only when you go abroad and study is when you learn that, okay, this is how you manage yourself.
Of life,
yeah, the reality. Then you miss your parents and you realize, oh, I was so comfortable here in India. No, but this is something I've always felt, because I myself make it a point that I do not trouble, my staff who's already spent the whole day cooking and doing things for you. And then, we just don't know where to draw the line. And at the same time, tell me that how at fine dining, I'm not supposed to, if I drop something, go pick it up myself.
So at a fine dining restaurant, there's a maitre d' who's watching you, and that is their job. And if you just drop something, normally somebody would be there to help you up. Also, a lot of people would take their own plate and give it to the server. You don't do that. That is their job, and they will do it for you, and let them do it.
Yeah, you won't go in a restaurant and go and put it back in the kitchen.
or also like somebody lift the glass of champagne like a flute, and for the maitre d' to pour the champagne. You don't do that. You place it on the table and they do it themselves.
Nice.
Another thing I wanted to make sure, okay, about wine, the host pour it for you, and a lady should never pour their own wine.
Oh.
The man should pour it, or whoever's hosting you would do it, or the maitre d' of the hotel and stuff like that.
Nice. And I think this is something yesterday you were telling us. First, if there is a couple with you, you first serve, or if there's a woman and a man sitting with you, you first serve the lady and then serve
the man. Suppose if I'm hosting you and we are, all of us are out and about dining, and if I'm hosting, I would be, and there's a bottle of water obviously, and then probably, the staff's not around, or the server did not, make eye contact with us. I would go and pour it for you, and then everybody, and last myself.
Thank you for bringing up the eye contact, because I'm always trying to make an eye contact with the server, and I try not to scream out. But here I've seen a lot of people in India, waiter,
No,
hello. If anyone does that with you when they've gone out, what do? What's your reaction?
Well, the first rule of etiquette is to be able to handle bad manners.
How do you handle bad manners?
With grace and consideration. You don't correct them.
That's true. You should not correct them.
No,
right?
you shouldn't correct anybody's anybody's etiquette faux pas. That's in fact goes against etiquette. But yeah, I mean, it's very easy in today's world when you go out and about. The restaurants are so efficient. By the way, Indian hospitality are the best in the world, I believe,
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I agree.
So
but
graceful,
I'm
they're
happy
so
because
good.
you've been to more countries than me, so I'm happy to hear that.
UAE is fabulous as well. Hong Kong is great, but I love my India. I love the hotels in India. I love the restaurants. They're so gracious. Yeah. They really, really go out of their way to look after you. And even if you just make an eye contact, lift your finger very slightly,
they come.
The index finger, and they come and they help you.
This is in our culture also, coming back from somewhere.
We are very gracious in general. We are very hospitable. Don't you think? Like even when the Maharajas, even when people from abroad came, how the royal family treats, how the Maharajas used to go out of their way to show our culture. What is India? India is nothing but Atithi Deva Bhava, right? Guest is God. And that is where it is coming from. And that's why when guests come home, we get so excited. We become so happy that we are going to do something for our guests.
This is our culture.
This is our culture.
And I think we take pride in it.
We do. And we are also blessed to have so many people and luxury in this country.
Talking about one of this recent incident I really wanted to ask you was Will Smith. When I saw this happen to him, I didn't judge him because I thought if it can happen with him, it can happen to anybody. Maybe that at that point, maybe he made his decision that I need to react right now. And he ended up, what's your take on that?
Oh, I know. I feel so bad for the Smith family. What happens is grace under pressure is crucial. It is very difficult to master, What happens when somebody hurt our loved ones? Somebody says something sensitive towards our loved ones. We get angry. We become hurt. And it's a very natural reaction. But having said that, it's difficult to master grace under pressure or a good decorum when things are out of your control and things don't go in your favor. You see, Will Smith right now, there is a retribution for his actions.
Yeah.
Right? And
people are appreciating Chris Rock's, the way he handled it.
I don't know if there is anything to appreciate, but would I appreciate the comedian who made a joke about somebody whose health is? No. But having said that, Will Smith's reaction is not justified, especially in the public platform. If you want to confront someone, you do it in private.
Promise.
Yeah.
Even if they've insulted you in public, you just have to wait it out.
That is grace. You don't bring yourself to their level.
Nowadays, I see so much going on online where you can't see the person, but they're just hurting you with words and they're
anonymously.
Yes, and Konkana, in the future, I feel everything's now in the Web3 is taking over the world. I feel everything will be moving in that direction where, people are going to be spending a lot of time in the metaverse. They're going to be spending a lot of time online, and especially the younger generation, they are spending time on these games called Roblox, PUBG.
You know these.
Yeah, I know because I've tried playing all these games. I'm guilty. I'm guilty for playing PUBG.
I don't know what that is.
I can never imagine you play that game.
What is it?
It's a violent shooting game.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. And but I thought it's a lot to do with hand and eye coordination and a lot to do with precise shooting and those calculations, the same calculations you use when you're playing snooker and all. But to be honest, it gets a bit too much. It gets a bit overwhelming for the body. But like I said, the kids this is their way of communication. How when we used to meet when we were kids, younger, and we had this interaction, and then we would, go back and, be like, okay, that's my new friend or not.
Exactly.
Here, online, everyone, you don't know who to accept, who not to accept. What is your take on this new way of living?
Online presence is very crucial. You have to be very careful with it, There you have to be quite diplomatic, and you have to have like an image which is fluid, which is solid personal branding. Because in online, you don't know anonymously who your friend, who's watching over you, who's your foe, who's copying your content. You don't know anything.
Is imitation a way of flattery? Is imitation...
It is a way of flattery, but it is not fun when people just copy the hell out of you.
Yeah, and then what do you do? How do you tell them off?
I don't, unfortunately. A cruel thing has happened to me. Cruel. But again, another thing I want to tell you. You know, there was this one time somebody just copied the hell out of me. One of my students just came and just everything. Content, everything. My photo shoot, just the way I sit, the way I dress, the way I teach, every single thing.
They opened their own academy?
She launched her own finishing school, and I taught the word that she uses in her finishing school, the French word. I taught it in the school. It's so funny. She copied the hell out of me. I was quite concerned because, you see, I mean, there are certain niche that I'm targeting. Then I was slightly concerned. And then one uncle of mine taught me a very important thing, and I'm going to tell you this. He's one of the biggest business leader, and that I happened to meet during Savoir Faire. In fact, when I started Savoir Faire, he's one of the business leader that I met.
Would you like to?
No, I wouldn't like to. But he told me one thing, that beta, be so good at your job that if somebody else is offering it for free of cost, people would still come to you. And I was losing my sleep. Because India is a price-sensitive country. If I'm offering something for $20, if somebody else is doing it for $2, they would go there. You know, and then when uncle told me that, I was like, it's a revelation. Then no amount of inhibitions were there anymore. Just be so good at your job that if somebody else is offering it for free of cost, people would still come to you. That is the kind of motivation you need.
And this is something to really watch out, because these days people without certification or any qualification have started their own channels. And someone like you who's done degrees and have so much experience, you don't even have Insta on your phone. You're telling me because you need to work and you need to study all the time.
I have to study because you see lots of etiquette, even modern manners, they come with some kind of a historical anecdotes. When you teach with the anecdotes, then the students and my clients would absorb those information better rather than just teaching something for the sake of teaching something, you know, because every etiquette, even modern manners, it has some kind of story behind it. History, it comes. Where does etiquette come from? Etiquette, the word etiquette is a French word, is basically to do the right things, right? Good manners. Now, where does it come from? King Louis the Philippe was reigning, and he was hosting a lot of parties in Versailles. He wanted to make Versailles a very prominent place for the French elite to come and hang out, right? And then he used to invite the whole of Paris to come and party in Versailles. Now, every time people came, they would look at the fountain, beautiful, it looking great. They would jump on the fountain. They would look at the beautiful garden and they would pluck flowers. So then King Louis the Philippe and the gardener, they were exasperated with the behavior that we plan such a beautiful gathering, such extravagant party, but the guests are not behaving well. So what do? They started to put little signs everywhere. Like near the fountain, they would say, please don't jump on the fountain. It's for the show. Near the garden, they would put like a little sign, please don't pluck the flowers, let everyone else enjoy. When people started to notice these small little signs of good manners, then they started following those manners. And it became a practice in the French court.
Wow.
The protocol, the manners, how to behave in front of the king or in front of people, civilization, you know, like just being more civilized. That's how etiquette came into place.
Wow.
It's from French
subtle,
code.
minor.
Very little signs. Etiquette literally means little signs.
Wow. So you're saying this is like little signs.
These are just little signs.
One thing I've learned from the French is the kamash.
So you don't make that sound.
Okay, let's do it again.
It's just air kissing.
Are you supposed to pout?
Yes.
Okay, we're supposed to pout.
But no. Mwah.
Okay, and there's one thing I've noticed, it happens with me a lot. When I'm trying to do the double kiss, someone will do the one kiss and they'll turn away.
So one kiss is again not wrong, but in Europe and in America, 2 kisses are practiced. In UAE, it's double kisses. Come here. It's 1, 2 and 1, 2.
I was doing the kiss right now.
Yeah,
You're not supposed to take out that sound.
You just don't make that sound. You do pout your lip. It's air kiss. No?
And do you have to touch the cheeks, or
yes,
you can just...
do. You
oh,
do.
You do.
Of course you do. And by the way, socially, a man should never go and hug a lady unless he knows her very well. And in a social situation, it's a lady's prerogative if she wants to initiate the hug or the social kiss.
I like my money right where I can see it, hanging in my closet. I had to read this because, for me, I'm not someone who would invest in clothes, scarves. I'm so bad at all this.
No, clothes is a bad investment. Scarves are not bad, actually.
Yeah, this is what you're telling me, that it's almost like buying a Rolex.
Not really, but yes, clothes. Well, certain scarves, certain very good brands, simply because of their historical establishment.
Just like Hermes you mentioned.
Hermes
what is
definitely
their historical reason that
So one thing people must know, where to invest when it comes to luxury. You don't invest just because you want to buy something for the sake of buying it, because it's the magazines and the media, they would promote something that the brand wants you to buy. But if you're a connoisseur of luxury, you would buy the things that they are famous for. They are initially established for. So what's Hermes for? Hermes is the equestrian accessories, the leather, and silk scarves. So you don't really go and buy a bracelet from Hermes.
I'm sure a lot of women who are watching this, and even men, would relate to this because it's something, because they're always shopping, buying all these brands, and I think they should really understand. It's such a great point. Certainly. You said that, Hermes will be selling bracelets, but you should know what to buy and what from which brand.
No, buy it if you like it. But if you're looking at luxury as an appreciation, which we teach, I think I'm the only person who has done in-depth research on luxury appreciation. We have a whole subject called luxury appreciation because a lot of our Savoir Faire clients, they're luxury enthusiasts.
And then how to take care of it?
They take care of it, and also we do something called style analysis. So we suggest luxury pieces according to your lifestyle and personal branding. It has to.
There's so much to learn from you, and I really hope that people can find you and come for your master classes. And you're also a great entrepreneur, and I know it's one of your goals to make your academy Asia's #1 academy.
Oh, touche to that. By the grace of God, hopefully. But Savoir Faire has gone. We have received great testimonials. Thankfully, Savoir Faire do a lot of global clients. I have lots of private clients globally, and I'm a global etiquette consultant. A lot of my revenue comes from Singapore, from London, from the US, and I think I'm very, very fortunate. So I look at Savoir Faire as a lifestyle company and a finishing school that I would like to cater to globally. I am looking at, obviously, Dubai is established. We already have an establishment in Dubai. I would love to do it in Singapore and would love to do it.
You did the TED Talk. So how did you manage that pressure? Was it that same grace under pressure?
Grace under pressure, yes. Also my EA, Alina, lovely girl, she got me the TED Talk, and she sort of fixed everything. And the TED said, well, we want to know more about etiquette, but I want very casual conversation. So we just spoke about the true meaning of etiquette.
That's it.
Which are just consideration, respect, and honesty principles.
So guys, go watch that also. And one thing an introvert can do when they come across a strong communicator. Because this happens to me a lot. I am the strong communicator here, by the way. And I meet people who are not so friendly and social. And then I just enter their shell. And I'm like, what's your problem? Tell me, why aren't you talking to me? I'm like that Jab We Met's Geet. Please talk to me. So tell me,
that's a lovely thing. Because what happens when some people are quite introvert, they also may have a little bit of a social anxiety, or may not, or maybe they are just reserved. They may not be introvert. But what happens is sometimes, as a good communicator like you are, the first thing is to make the other person feel so comfortable in your company that they start to talk. And
Nice.
one thing about that is ask questions. The moment you show more interest in the other person's life, they tend to open up more.
Ah, nice tip. You know, like you said, that we spoke about so many things, how to impress in person. I'm sure, like if someone goes on a first date with you, they would be like, "Wow, this is my wife."
I don't tell anybody that I'm an etiquette consultant. I've stopped saying that.
No, but then when they'll dine with you, they'll be like, "That's my wife, okay? That's gonna
gosh.
be the mother of my kids."
I wish. I would have been married a long time ago if that was the case. Well, thank you so much for having me over, Muskan. It's so fabulous to see you after so long.
Thank you.
And I hope that we meet very soon again.
We will, and you're going to be coming back on this podcast. We are going to dissect a few more figures and a few more body language things that I've been trying to do. I really want to do a lot more stuff with you, so we're going to get you back on the pod.
Certainly, anytime.
And I can't wait to see what all you're going to do. My eyes are going to be on you, and I'm your well-wisher for
Oh,
life.
thank you.
And
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me over. I had a great time. And this girl is a gem. And I have been so fond of her. And Muskan, you make me so proud. And you make the whole nation so proud.
You're so sweet. Ma'am, you're really kind. You're far too
Ma'am,
kind.
seriously?
How do I take such overwhelming compliments? You're far too kind.
Thank you so much.
I seriously love you, and I'm like I said, even in the intro and even now, I would like to say that I'm in love with this woman. And I really had to bring this out because, you know, all these things, etiquette and image consultancy are something very underrated in India. And not just in India, but in many parts of the world. So I hope you enjoyed this episode and you're going to see her soon. And please follow Konkana on her Instagram, LinkedIn. She will be making a lot more content.
Okay.
So just watch out for her. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to review, like, subscribe, and catch us next Thursday for a brand new episode. This is Muskan Sethi signing off from the A Game podcast. Take care and go for it.
Yeah, you can raise the stakes, it don't matter cause I'm all in. Focus man, guaranteed to blow cause I'm all in. Load a plan from top to bottom, but they tryna call my bluff. Winning every award, it's going down, royal flush. You gotta see it in your mind if you wanna be it. Crushing the competition, cause I truly believe it. From continent to continent, I'm about my numbers, man. Give me all the chips, cause I always got the upper hand.